Rolling and the sound is speeding. Hi, welcome to another episode of This Week with Drew for Thursday, July 15th, 2021. What's going on? On today's episode, we got comedy. We got Narc Twain is coming down again. And and the freestyle intro with my hippity hop freestyle flow. Cause you know Big Drew on the mic is real tight and he spits his game and you know he ain't a whine. What's going on? What's going on? Welcome to another episode of This Week with Drew for Thursday, July, what did I say? 15th, 2021. Hi, how are you? How are you? Thank you so much for checking in. I really appreciate you being here. I hope you had a nice week. Did you have a fun time? Were you able to maybe cook a couple nice meals and then pack them up for lunch in the Tupperware and then take them the next day? And then on your break of work, did you think about, man, I can't wait to eat that yummy lunch that was my dinner last night, and now I'm gonna microwave it? And then you microwave it, and then at lunchtime, and then you eat it, and you're like, wow, that's exactly what I needed. And then you go back to work, and then you're like, yeah, I microwaved that and that tasted nice. I did that. Hi, welcome to the show. Let's start off the show with a little bit of, what do we got? Oh geez, okay, I should not put a pencil on my piano there. We got how was my week? How was my week? Well, I had a good week. Obviously, comedy is back in full swing, and I am full on in comedy mode because I got an email. So we're ramping it up here, getting the minutes together. You know, getting the set, doing some sets, getting the set together here, and I had a show on Monday that was meant to be at Victory Cafe, which is a cool outdoor spot, or they have a large patio, I should say, at Bloor and Bathurst, kind of. And I go there, and then my buddy Mark DeBonis is running it, who's actually been on the podcast before. If you're a Patreon, you can watch that interview. There's a little plug for the Patreon. I get there, and then Mark is telling me that the owner of the bar, or the manager, completely forgot there was a comedy show this week. And it was just like this. It's just like, oh man, okay, nice. Like, I completely understand. Like, definitely during COVID, like that sort of thing, you can get lines crossed because we don't know like what the regulations are in regards to COVID, or can we even do the show, or you know what are we legally allowed to do? So there was apparently like a crisscross of whatever with COVID or whatever, but which we were laughing about because it's just like that makes sense, but that has also happened in like the before times when it's just like, buddy, like where you get there and they're like, oh, there's a comedy show tonight. It's just like, yeah, where's the guy? It's like, oh, the guy isn't even here. And it's just like, we had a show booked here. And we were all lamenting or like relating stories to each other of times when we were at gigs where nobody who works there knew there was a comedy show. And then they're like, okay, well, I mean, I guess like sometimes they're like, you're like, are we going to do this? And they're like, yeah, I guess we're going to do this. And then it's just kind of like a surprise for everyone. And then sometimes it's like, we're not good. What do you mean comedy show? We're not doing that. Like, who is it? And then you email the guy or whatever, and then he's like, oh yeah, fuck. Like, yeah, we didn't really hear from you or whatever. Or like and it's just like we were promoting, you know, like everyone was posting about the show, tagging them in it. That I think whatever. But it's just so funny that like, now, because I feel a renewed appreciation for live entertainment for sure, especially like in the shows that I've been doing lately, because people realized that was the thing that was the one of the main things that was taken away. Like, you can't go out and do stuff anymore, right? So I think people realized that like, well, you know, I've been sitting at home watching Netflix. Like, I kind of want to go out and do something and watch somebody do something, you know, whether it's music or art or comedy or whatever. Like, they want to go out and do something. So I'm feeling this really greater sense of appreciation from the audiences, which is really cool. And I feel like even if we would have done the show on Monday night, like people would have been like, well, hey, like, oh, and then the comedy show happened. Like, it's all like, I feel like in the before times have been like, ugh, because the availability of this stuff, it was so like, you couldn't even get people to come out to things. And now it's like, there aren't even things, and people come up to me after the show and they're like, well, thank you for just even doing this. You know, like we get so many messages from people like just saying, thank you for being out here on Reddit. Actually, I want to read a message from one of our Patreons, Mac. She sent this, which is super nice. She said, I listen to your podcast and I feel like I can be anyone I want to be. I can be silly and weird, and that's okay. I have a social anxiety and I'm always so worried that I say or do the wrong thing, but your podcast has literally been like therapy to me, which is like so nice to hear that, you know, like it's like even during like when there isn't comedy going on, you know, you can still kind of fucking, I don't know, check in. So, but comedy, she's the same old bitch, ain't she? Like we didn't know there was a show. It's like, we're all like, oh yeah, you cocksucker. Like you're back. We're like, comedy is coming back now. We all got to deal with this. So the Monday show got canceled. So then I just haven't had any show, and that's how it is. There's really only very few shows in town now. So I didn't have any on Tuesday or Wednesday. And today is Thursday. So we got the park show tonight. We're back in the Music Gardens tonight, and it's going to be, like just a regular show. I think the rain's going to stop around 7, and we're just going to fire up around 9. And yeah, so there you go. That's how was my week. And now let's move on. We got, let's change up the sound, and we got, oh no, I was supposed to do that the other way around. Time for big news with Drew. Okay, we got Narg Twain coming down. So big news with Drew is pertaining. This is a little thing pertaining to the show that I'm doing tonight and Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We have complete like consent, and like the cops love what we're doing down there. They're like, this is a space that's for public use. You are the public. You're allowed to the people are allowed to sit here and you're allowed to talk. So we're down with that, and it's letting off steam, and they're like, the city needs this. So we have like the consent of the cops, but now Bila's coming down, and fucking Braden accidentally, he should have told him his name was fucking Ronald McDonald and told him to kick rocks. But, you know, he got a ticket for bylaw for like organizing an event or some shit like that, which is like whatever. And so they came down 4 times and narked 4 times on him because he gave him the name the first time, right? So, and then, but nobody else gets ticketed, none of the other musicians or whatever. It's just like this bylaw. It was just easy for them, because they knew that they didn't have any backup with the cops, because we're like, the cops told us this is cool. We're like, well, whatever. And then when they're like, we're gonna call the cops, we're like, buddy, we already talked to the cops. Like, bring them down here. They like this show. So we set up a GoFundMe. So if you go to the Cowbell Comedy Instagram, cowbell.comedy, there's a post about it. Braden's, we got to get a retainer on a lawyer now, because some of these tickets are actually like pretty gnarly. Like, he's gonna be like, I don't know, it's like a pretty serious fine for like, but there's a couple lawyers that they talked to already that they're like, oh, like these COVID era bylaws are just gonna get tossed. Like there's all these like gathering of whatever, because it was so convoluted and changing all the time and this, that, and the other. And, you know, so they're saying it's going to get tossed, but we still got to get a lawyer on retainer. So if you want to go hit up the GoFundMe, go to cowbell.comedy Instagram and you can hit up the GoFundMe. Thank you, Mac, for fucking throwing cash in and sharing it. You guys have been awesome. So thank you. Okay. That's the big news. And money. Yeah, man, money. It's just the money. Like the government just it's so dumb. Like it's just, and it's just a fine too. So it's just like, is that really even like a deterrent? Because what if Braden had like, you know, what if he was minted, you know, then what would he care? Oh, if that's, I can't remember who said this quote, but if the penalty is a fine, then it's only actually illegal for poor people to do, which is crazy. Like it's true, man. There's some, I read this in Uncle John's Bathroom Reader. There's in Finland, or maybe it's Denmark, but they leverage a speeding ticket based on your income. So there was a guy who got $111,000 speeding ticket one time because he's worth like $100 million or whatever, or something like that. And that's how it should be, you know, because that shit isn't, if you're, what is that? So say you got, you know, $100 million in the bank. What's a speeding ticket? What's a red light ticket? What's a parking ticket? Like you could just park, you know, if you got, like, who cares if you spend $10,000 a month on park? Like who gives a fuck, man? Like you got 100 mil in the bank. That's you know, that's making money. So it's just a fine for poor people, man. Money's not real. Warren Mosler said that in 1992, Modern Monetary Theory. Do you want to talk about that? Is that... You want to talk about Modern Monetary Theory? And Warren Mosler in 1992, who said that nations who are the monopoly holders of their own fiat currency can not actually go into debt, since they are the ones who print that currency themselves, and their debt is also issued in that same currency. So therefore, they can and should spend into a deficit as much as possible to maintain a steady economy. Is that funny? Okay, promotional consideration for the show is provided by our Patreons: Anthony, Blair, Joel, Nick and Mac, the aforementioned Nick and Mac, Marnus, Bubba, Taryn, Bryce, and man, Marnus, bro, your kids are like so cute, man. The Facebook pictures you're putting up are like, oh. And in the motherfucking Hall of Fame, Colette and Andre, say their name. Boop, 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 boop. Also, new grandma Colette, congratulations, and Blair, congratulations as well. Okay, and also promotional consideration for our show is provided by our sponsor, KingTutsCannabis.com. You can use the promo code DREW for 10% off your order right now if you go to KingTutsCannabis.com. And if it's your first time, if you've been kind of hesitant, like, oh, I kind of like buying my weed from the government, go. They'll give you an extra 15% off. Number and a tester. Hi, Mink. Go to KingTutsCannabis.com. Use the promo code DREW for 10% off your order. KingTutsCannabis.com. Smoke like an Egyptian. Okay, yeah, Narc Twin, that's the ads. How's my week? That's all I really wanted to talk about. I'm sorry for talking about modern monetary theory. I find it to be quite interesting though, and it could definitely be the crux of the, you know, the institution of like the concept of a universal basic income, man, and then freeing people from the chains of capitalism. Courtney and I watched School of Rock last night, and that movie is awesome. I love that movie. Obviously, I love Jack Black. But he's doing this lecture on the man, or like he starts yelling about the man, and it's like there are mans everywhere and blah blah blah, and like you gotta stick it. And then the principal comes in, and then she's like, what's going on? And he's like, and we will continue your lecture on the man tomorrow. And he's just like giving a lecture on the man, which is so funny, man. That movie's awesome. Okay, yeah, cool. Right on. So, yeah, I won't be late on the podcast anymore because, you know, we're back ripping again. Shit is you know, got that bag right again. So we're good. We're good to go. And then I'm going to Alberta in August too. So that's going to be fun and get some hiking done with my sister. And yeah, so it's going to be a crazy end of the month. So, but I'm going to try to do I don't know what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to obviously I think I'm going to bring my camera when I go to Edmonton, and then I'll be able to do my podcast at my sister's, which I've done before. But I don't want to bring my 7B. Oh, this is why this is why Long McQuaid exists, because I can go rent that shit from there. Okay. I got an email. How do you play that? Whatever, I'll figure that shit out later. Okay, thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching, whatever. And yeah, whatever. There's no dad rock because it's not Monday. But I miss guitarbackytracks.com. Rest in peace.